Now, the private data of several top members of the President Donald Trump's administration, believe it or not, can be accessed online. Now, according to the German news magazine Der Spiegel, these include the cell phone numbers, email addresses, and even their passwords. Now, the report comes amidst the revelations of security slips by the Trump administration. The report claims the data related to National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, the Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, and the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth can be found via commercial data search services and hacked data that is dumped online. Now, these include cell phone numbers, email addresses, and in quite a number of cases, even their passwords. And according to reports, the phone numbers and email addresses, mostly current, were in some cases used for Instagram and LinkedIn profiles, cloud storage service Dropboxes, and apps that track a user's location. It further said that the numbers belonging to Tulsi Gabbard and Mike Waltz were reportedly linked to accounts on messaging services such as WhatsApp and Signal. Der Spiegel said that it has left them exposed to having spyware installed in their devices. The magazine claims that it had sent the provider a link to Hegseth's LinkedIn profile and had received a Gmail address and also a mobile phone number in return. The National Security Council said that the Waltz's account and passwords referenced by the German magazine Der Spiegel had all been changed back in 2019. Now, Der Spiegel says that it has sought comments from the Defense Department and also the Office of the National Intelligence Director, but so far it has not received any response yet. The German magazine has also said that it is awaiting any response to personal inquiries that have been sent to Tulsi Gabbard and Mike Waltz. Now, Der Spiegel's report has also said that it was even possible that foreign agents were potentially spying on Hegseth, Gabbard and Waltz during the recent chat leak episode. Now, Waltz had inadvertently included a journalist in the chat, the Atlantic magazine's Jeffrey Goldberg, to Signal group chat. All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of what is, of course, happening with respect to this case, we're joined by Mr. Lincoln Mitchell, who is a political analyst and also a professor in the School of International and Public Affairs at Columbia University. And he is joining us live on this broadcast from New York. Now, Mr. Mitchell, this is really bizarre. Now, these are individuals who are heads of security apparatus within the United States of America and also the Defense Secretary. But the fact that their data, it is being reported, can be out there in the public domain, including their numbers, cell phone numbers, their email addresses, and more damagingly, even their passwords. What does it say about the nature of the security administration under Donald Trump?
Well, it's a reminder, so much of the 100-odd days since Trump has been in office, we've been so focused on the policies he's implemented, the undermining of democracy, the looting of the American coffers and the American people, that we sometimes overlook just how unqualified some of these people are. Pete Hegseth, he was a second-tier news guy who, because he's good-looking, relatively speaking, and was on Fox News a lot, became Secretary of Defense. And he has no idea how these systems work, right? The idea that a Signal chat with somebody in Moscow is the place to be discussing war plans, and make no mistake, those were war plans, regardless of what he's trying to spin now, reflects, in plain English, the stupidity and incompetence of this administration. Now, Tulsi Gabbard should know better. She's been in Congress for a long time. She's been in the intelligence community, but Tulsi Gabbard is essentially a Russian asset anyway. So for her, sharing information with Moscow, it's not a big deal. But this speaks to an American administration that at its core is not patriotic. And at its core, the fact that any of these people have a job today tells you that Donald Trump does not take national security seriously. Now, maybe that's because he's not able to do that because of his incapacities, but it tells you he's not serious about this. All of these people should have resigned or been fired by today.
Now, the person who actually created that Signal group chat, Mike Waltz, he said that he was adding numbers and he ended up adding Jeffrey Goldstein inadvertently. He wanted to add someone else. And he said it could have happened because he had someone else's number saved under the name of Jeffrey. This is what he said on record. Should the Americans actually come clean as to how this entire fiasco has happened? Because there are a lot of theories that are circulating around the world that probably this was a hack where people wanted to expose us to how poorly qualified these individuals were, and this is what was done.
Well, Goldberg, not Goldstein. The world knows how unqualified these individuals are. You don't need a hack to prove that. And it's possible he made a mistake, right? It's possible he had someone else with the initials JG that he meant to put on the chat. It's possible there was somebody with a similar number. But that's exactly why you shouldn't be doing this on Signal or WhatsApp or your basic texting option. Now, I don't have, I don't work for the government. I don't have any security clearance. I'm an academic. But I know, I use Signal sometimes, and I use it because, for example, if I'm involved with a political campaign and I don't want the rival political campaign to get the information. But when I use Signal, I don't assume that Russian or Chinese intelligence can't hack it. Now, they're not interested in me. But for the defense secretary not to realize that,
right,
particularly for something as sensitive as this. But I want to say something else. Not only were there war plans discussed there, but each of the particular people, and don't forget Vice President J.D. Vance, who was on that chat as well, were sharing their views. So now the whole world knows how the leadership of the American foreign policy teams think differently about the use of force, about the military, about their relationships with Europe. That's sensitive information. That's valuable information that any American adversary would like to have, and we just gave it to them.
Interesting. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Licken Mitchell, for joining us with all those details there.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.